So, hello and welcome to the very first episode of our new podcast, The Bus Ride Home. We are a group of 5 high school students who just have gone through many experiences in the past couple years, both related to school and to life outside of school. And we just want to share our experiences in the hopes that it might help you with any decisions or any future problems you may have. And just a reminder, we are not any kind of professionals in any sense of the word. We just want to share our experiences and advice in the hopes that it might help. So, just so you get an idea of who we all are, I am Mackenzie.
I'm Julia.
I'm Morgan.
I'm Niche. I'm the best one.
And I'm Jonathan Kiley, the greatest.
In this first episode, we will be answering some questions related to time management, stress, which is something that we have definitely all dealt with school. So we'll share some of our tips and tricks that we've picked up with our personal experiences. So our first question is time management even real? How do you do it, or how do you get by without it? So this was one of the first questions we received. So in short, yes, does exist, and it is important, especially when you get to your later years of high school and moving forward into university. And it is hard to get by without it while still maintaining all the parts of your life that you enjoy. So we will share some of our tips on time management and how we manage that and our personal lives.
Alrighty, it's my turn. Isn't that fun? So, fun fact, like Mackenzie said, it is real. And personally, in high school, it is a very important skill to master because especially if you're going into a very difficult program where you have a lot of activities, whether it be academics or extracurriculars, if you can't manage them, there's no way you can put up high quality work in all of them. So personally, I like to keep things as organized as possible. I like to know when I have free time. I like to know when I'm busy. And so that way it's the best way I can organize my day. Personally, I like using apps like Google Calendar, or even I've started using Notion and Microsoft To Do, which is a way to have your kind of schedules and to-do lists be kind of online, so you can access them whether it be from a laptop or a computer or even like your phone. So I like those ways. Personally, for me, when it comes to school and doing work to keep time management alive, I'm one of those people that can just sit down and do a bunch of work and not stop. I think personally I like to do that because it allows me to keep my focus. So yeah, you just gotta find out which way is the best way to keep yourself productive. There's a bunch of online tips and tricks. You just try them out and see which one works for you.
So I'm the exact opposite in the sense that I cannot work for a long period of time straight. So what I like to do normally is make a schedule for my day, so I know that like straight after school I usually don't like to immediately get into homework because I'm kind of tired from doing work all day in school. So I'll give myself a little break, and then I know starting at this time I will be working for like 45 minutes straight maybe, and then I'll get maybe a 5-10 minute break, and then I'll do another 45 and then a little break, and then just that kind of stuff. So just learning, if you don't like to work for an extended period of time, learn what kind of like, I guess, ratio you work best in, like your work to break time ratio, and just find a schedule that will work well for you and keep you productive throughout the day.
One thing that I like to do is purposely set out time to organize my time. So I'll specifically say, okay, while I'm on the bus on the way home, I'm going to type out all the list of things I have to do. And I like to use the to-do list app on my phone, or even like the notes app if I have a whole lot to do. And that way I can like satisfyingly check things off when they're done and they disappear. So I purposely organize out, okay, on Tuesday I have this event, and then on Wednesday I have this project due, and so then I'll try to organize, okay, when can I most efficiently use my time and use every minute to get what I need to do done. I like to use like an actual paper agenda as well, and then color code it to keep track of events, so that's similar to how Michelle uses her apps, but I like to just do it on paper because it's easier for me to have something tangible. And then sometimes when I get home, I like write things out on sticky notes and I post it on the wall above my desk. And that way, every time I look up, I can see on this brightly colored sticky note everything I still have to do. And I mean, sometimes it does create more stress but at least I know exactly what there's left to do in the day. I know I'm not.
I think we can all understand the universal joy of checking something off a to-do list. Just the internal feeling of happiness you get from that.
The
is amazing.
satisfaction of just
Yes.
like drawing a line through that one task that you didn't want to do.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever made a to-do list in my life.
Okay, John, why are you here? John, wait. Okay. All right.
So that's a personal thing. So John, how do you get by with time management then?
So, to answer the question, time management is not real and is a social construct. So, if you are a very organized person and you want to manage your time really well, there are lots of techniques and you should just try them all out to find the one that works for you. But if you're like me and you don't care about yourself, then you can have no sense of time management and you can just stress over everything. Now, having a good system to manage your time and your time spent working versus your time spent, doing things that are actually fun, it doesn't entirely eliminate stress, but it does provide a sense of order that you can really use to, make your life not bad and get things done and be productive. So I would suggest using those kinds of tools to help organize your life, but remember to actually do things that are fun, or else it's not worth it.
Nice, John. That's great.
Thanks, Michelle.
Hey, I agree. Time management is definitely real. I have learned that over the years. I have a Google Calendar, and it's very pretty. It's color coded. It's like my favorite thing ever, and that is how I manage my time. It's so easy to be able to see what I'm doing and have specific times on everything.
We'd love a good color coding system.
Of course we do. I think a calendar also helps in the sense that it gives you a visual representation of how full your day is or how full your month is. So
And a calendar can be color coded.
That is true.
Yeah, but not only does it give you an idea of how full your days are, but it can also show you, oh, maybe this day I don't have many things to do, so this day can be a more relaxing day or a break. But yeah, another way I manage my time is I like setting goals for myself. So I'll study for a certain amount of time, and then I'll take a break, and I'll do something enjoyable, whether that's like playing a game or getting a snack or talking to friends. I like having something to look forward to because it makes it easier to focus on what I'm doing and thinking, oh, when I get this done, I'll be able to do something else that I want to do.
The second question that we received was, how do you balance IB and having extracurriculars, friends, and possibly a job? So, my answer, you don't. You just suffer. IB is really obnoxious when it comes to doing other things that you like doing. And you really do have to often choose between, having fun and having to stress about the project because you didn't do it because you were out having fun. And in that way, IB is kind of, a bad choice. But it is possible to still maintain friends and have a job and do extracurriculars while in IB. You just have to, work really hard at it. I know Michelle does a lot to be able to, maintain her really great grades and still find time to, deal with me and her other friends and also have a job, which is fantastic, and I admire her and I wish I could be her, but I can't. So,
Just the context for some of our viewers that are unfamiliar with the idea of IB, it's a very rigorous high school program and to quote unquote prepare you for university. Just know that it's pretty hard and it just requires you to do a lot of stuff outside of the typical high school experience academically.
But to answer your question, the real way you can balance doing a lot of schoolwork and having fun is drinking just unhealthy amounts of coffee.
that is not a recommendation. I'm just gonna we don't
We don't condone that.
endorse, yeah, we don't
Please make better decisions.
condone caffeine addictions. Um
I do.
Probably should clarify the advice John gives is not superb all the
No,
time.
Usually
John is
it's
the
satirical.
honest one. John is the honest one.
It's how he lives, but it's not a recommendation. Anyways.
Anyways, I'm going to answer this question differently. And I'm going to say that it depends on how you prioritize the different things in your life. So even if you're not in IB, even if you're just in regular high school, you have like sports you like doing, and then friends, and a job, and homework and projects, and just a whole lot of different things. It depends on how you're going to prioritize it and how you're going to decide what to do when. And that's going to determine how well each of those things turns out. So one thing that I like to do is to purposely ignore everything I'm not doing during a time period where I've specifically set out to prioritize one thing. So if I've said, okay, on Friday, all I'm going to do is work on this one project, then I have to purposely stop myself from worrying about all my other homework and then that volunteer thing I'm going to do and that commitment I've made somewhere else. I have to purposely not think about it because all I'm going to do then is worry about how on earth am I going to get any of this stuff done. And for me, it makes it less stressful for me because I can sort of balance out my time better that way. And I don't worry about everything all the time. I only worry about one thing at a time.
I would like to bring up CAS, which is a very interesting component of IB, which is basically creativity. Yeah, creativity, activity, service. And you're basically doing extracurriculars, but you're counting them as part of the IB program. So you get to have fun and then say, oh, I'm doing this for school, which is like amazing. So if you have a club you want to participate in or you want to do a sport, I think it's much easier to do it when you think of it as, oh, this is part of getting my IB diploma. I have to do this, right? You kind of have an excuse to have fun outside of school. I can't really speak on the job thing because I quit my job, but the friends, I think it's easy in IB to find a lot of like-minded people, which makes it easy to hang out with them and talk about school-related things and yeah, just meet a lot of people that are similar to you and have a lot of similar experiences.
Alright, my turn. Me. It's me. I'm the best one. So, how do you balance IB and extracurriculars? You kind of just try your best. So, I think the best way to know whether or not you can balance something is to just try it, right? Because you can always quit. Well, at least most of the time, you can quit what you're doing. So, before in the first semester of IB is pretty chill, I would say, because you don't really have that many exams. It's just kind of your introduction to the workflow. Sometimes it is a big transition. For me, I know it was. It's doable, but it is a transition. You have to understand that. So I took up a bunch of clubs and also worked on CAS, did a bunch of academic stuff. And it really did start to pile up, and I didn't really realize it was piling up until I hit maybe the beginning of semester 2, and that's when everything became crashing down because now you have exams coming up, now you have everything else coming up. So it's good to have an idea of like what you can balance and what you can't balance, especially at certain times during the school year. So for me, I quit like 2-3 clubs just so I could kind of, like Julia said, prioritize my time better on certain aspects that I cared more about. So I cared a lot about my academics, so I might have dropped one club to study more for this one test or this one course. But really, you just have to know what you can and can't do, and the only way you can really figure that out is to try. So put yourself out there, kids. It'll be great.
So I'm going to speak more on the job aspect of this because while Misha also does have a job, it's a bit more relaxed. She works in more of like an office environment, and I have a part-time like customer service job. And with having a job and not only balancing IB but just all of school, it can be very difficult, and it depends on what kind of job you have and how nice your managers are with giving you time off and how flexible your work schedule is. So I think it's definitely possible to balance all at once, but you have to be aware of how much you're working, and you have to know that like you can't be working all the time if you still want to maintain having good grades and happiness in general. Like you just can't overwork
What's that?
yourself.
What's that?
Hmm?
What's that?
I don't know. But basically, if you do want to continue having a job, try to limit your hours or know your limit with how many hours you can work a week. If you are being overscheduled or if it's just becoming too much, talk to your managers, like see if they will let you have some more time off, and if they're still continuing to schedule you like crazy, honestly, know what's best for yourself. If you do still need a job, if you want a way to make money and they're still overscheduling you, honestly, it might be a good idea to quit your job. And I'm not saying like you should quit your job, but if they are being unfair to you, you have to remember that like you are in high school still, you still have other commitments, your school should come first. So just try to find a balance there, I guess.
So, I did have a job at the beginning of this school year, and I decided that it wasn't for the best to continue working there because I did try to speak to my managers about reducing the amount of hours that I worked, and it did not end well, and I wasn't listened to. And you deserve to have a job where your managers and your coworkers listen to what you need. Because it's not all about what the company needs, it's also about you. So don't sacrifice like your free time and your grades in school for a job, because it's not worth it, and there's always another one that you can find somewhere else that is a better fit for you.
Yeah, so it's very easy for a workplace to take advantage of employees, especially as like young teenagers. Sometimes, at least I personally can find it hard to say no, and I know that's something that a lot of people feel. So you just need to know that like you're not in the wrong here. If they are overscheduling you and they're not changing that, like you can do something about it. Don't just sit there and take it, I would say.
All right, now moving on to the last and final question that we have for this episode, and it's who do you guys talk to for managing stress? Morgan, you got an answer?
I do have an answer. So, like I mentioned earlier, IB has, one of the only good things about IB is that I've met a lot of people that are very similar to me, and we have very similar ways of thinking. So I'd say the people I talk to for managing stress would definitely be my friends, because we have a lot of similar experiences and we can kind of rant together about what's going on at school, or yeah.
Yep, so friends is definitely, I think, the big one here. Like Morgan said, we all are going through it, so it's very easy to relate to each other. But other than that, I also like to talk to my mom a lot. Not that she really knows, like, or has experienced the amount of work that we're going through. She still understands and can empathize with that, and it's fun to have an outsider's point of view sometimes, and it can be helpful to see what someone else thinks.
Okay, so life kind of sucks. But a good thing about
Amen.
a
What
good
an
thing,
optimistic viewpoint. Thanks, John.
you're so welcome. We live in an abject world of suffering. But one of the good things about it is that everybody else has to suffer with you. So, going off what Morgan says, no matter your situation, there's always going to be somebody who is in the same depressing, sinking boat as you. So, if you want to manage your stress, one of the best ways to deal with it is just to talk about what's causing you stress, and just to rant or, I guess, vent about it, and one of the great things about school or work is that everybody else has to deal with the same problems, and you get to complain to them, and they get to complain to you. So, no matter what happens, you always have other people who you can complain to. Also, if it's economically viable, I would definitely just get a therapist.
So definitely classmates are great to talk to, but I find that when I'm talking to other people who are doing this exact same thing I do, there's not really much net stress loss. Like, I'm sharing my stresses with them, they're sharing their stresses with me. I still leave the conversation with the same amount of stress that I went in with, I just now know what theirs is too. So, like, not that I don't like talking to my classmates, I do. It's great. However, it's nice to talk to people who have no idea what I'm doing. That's when I like talking to people from like my friends from other schools or that I've met other places, because we can talk for a bit about school. I'm kind of telling them I can kind of tell them what I'm doing in my life, but then the conversation just moves on to other topics because we don't really have school in common. And so I find like that's a better way to get rid of the stress because they're not giving me any back. But then I also like talking to like my parents, like Mackenzie said, or if you have like a adult in your life who's like kind of a mentor towards you, or you have like kind of that mentor relationship, whether it be with like a grandparent or an adult you know, or like an older cousin or something like that. Somebody who's been in high school or been in your situation before and who knows how stressful it is and can kind of offer suggestions or just a free space to talk about it, and where they can kind of take your stress and not give you any in return. I find like I have that kind of relationship with somebody that I know. And I find that those conversations are often most helpful for me to de-stress because they are not in the same situation that I am.
That was great, Julia. Thank you so much for that input there. Thank you everyone for your input so far. Now it's my turn. So personally for me, when it comes to managing stress, it's more about convincing myself that I'm not stressed when I am stressed. So how do I convince myself? Eat those logos. I convince myself, in one sense, kind of an emotional aspect, where I talk to my parents, my friends, yada yada yada. Everyone's already said that, just to make it feel like I'm being listened to. The other aspect is kind of a logical aspect. Well, I am stressed, but why should I not be stressed, right? So there's an exam coming up. Well, I'm stressed about the exam. Why should I not be stressed? Because I've been studying this whole time. Or I don't know what to do for this. I have to make a decision about my summer. Do I get a job? Do I keep studying? You ask someone who knows what they're talking about. You ask a guidance counselor. You ask your parents. You ask for logical points that can make an argument. And sometimes I just make a pros and cons list just to manage it out. But like doing something about it, get it out of your body. No one likes stress anywhere that's not out. You know. So that was just me. Anybody else have anything else to say?
I do. Something to add on to what I was saying before. Make sure that you do not fight with other people. Do not get roped up into a competition over grades or over who's the best employee, because if you do, then you'll have nobody to complain to. So, yeah.
Thanks, John. Great advice there.
Yeah.
Nice idea.
Alright, so if you are talking to someone like that, don't try to make it a competition of who's more stressed. We're all stressed in our own way, and we can all have different things that add to that stress. It's not a competition. Okay, so we are all stressed in our own way. Don't try to invalidate someone else's stress because you feel that yours is greater. So, yeah.
Right, and try to have some empathy in that conversation too. If you are talking to someone else, don't constantly wait, when is it my turn to talk, so you can tell them everything. Make sure you're having a fair conversation with them and allowing the other person to also talk about what they want to talk about and listen to them, and let them know that you're listening to them through your actions and your words, so it's not just all about, okay, when's it my turn to speak, because I feel like everyone would leave that conversation just feeling like nothing was accomplished and nothing was really released.
Alright, so that's the end of our first episode. Thank you everyone for sending in your questions. If you have any more questions you want to send in, we have a Google form that's on our Instagram and on our website, so if you check that out, you can submit some questions that could be answered in our next episodes. We're trying to post bi-weekly, so make sure to send those questions in. All your questions will remain anonymous. So yeah, obviously if you want to send, if you want to DM us questions, they won't be anonymous, but we'll also answer them to the best of our ability. So all of our links are in the description. You can check out the main page of our YouTube channel for all of those links as well. So yeah, John.
And remember to smash that like button, subscribe.
Hit
And
the
you can
bell for
find us on-
notifications.
Oh my goodness. And you can find us on Instagram at the Bus Ride Home Podcast and on YouTube right here at the Bus Ride Home.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for
everyone. Thank
listening.
you.
Bye.